holiday month is here! Lights in the city are lit, craft fairs are growing like crazy, elves and the gift bearers are shopping till exhaustion. Speaking of gift bearers, did you know that in our little country we have not one, not two, but 3 gift bearers? And most of the kids are visited by at least 2 of them. Yes, our complex history gave us that many, not just Santa. There are some good things about the big cultural changes. So December can be pretty chaotic and hectic, I admit. Especially with all the work parties, all the gatherings of the extended families, on one side, on the other side, on all sides. And of course with shopping for gifts for everybody involved. It can be a bit much. But there is another much gentler side to December that I would like to talk to you about, because it often gets overlooked or even crushed in the busy times. We can make nice, gentle family traditions that don't involve elaborate parties, fancy meals, or expensive gifts. They can be simple and cute, or they can be really gentle and touching. When it comes to family traditions, it really is the case that the best things are free of charge. I'm not suggesting that money doesn't matter at all, because the research is very clear. It does up to a certain amount, although it's not that high as you might have thought. But I can imagine it must be really heartbreaking if your kiddo really wants something that you can't afford. Luckily, my kiddos have quite humble wishes, so our gift bearers and the elves and everybody else can manage it so far. But I'm not diminishing the stress involved. Nevertheless, and especially for those of you whose wallets might be fearing these upcoming holidays, I would like to give you some ideas how to have fun holidays that kids and you will remember forever, that don't cost much. Or how Huberman would put it, I want to give you some zero-cost tools. Now everything is a tool. Once upon a time, when I was little, the tools were the things, physical things you used around the house to fix something. Now getting to bed on time is a tool. But okay, I digress. Let's go back to the holiday traditions. By the way, you can read more about them on my blog, link in the description. Last year I made a whole series about December holidays. But here's the short version. It's interlaced with images from my artsy advent calendar that I made a few years ago and everybody still loves it. It was inspired by artsy advent calendar from Creative Creations, and I definitely have to make one this year again. I illustrated every day of December and it was super fun. I highly recommend it. There's lots of things that you can do in December that are free or almost free, as you're about to see. Advent calendar is one of them, or any kind of Christmas countdown for that matter. Yes, if you buy a calendar, it will not be free, but even so, if you do it after the holidays, you can get them pretty cheap and you can use them over and over again. Our advent calendar truck was less than 10 euros and it's wooden and really well made. But the holidays were over and it would just take up space, so they put it on sale and I bought it. Before I had kids. Now that's some planning. But you don't have to buy the advent calendar. You can make it, even from a single sheet of paper. I'll link to the tutorial in the doobly-doo or description box, or however you call that, and somewhere up here as well. Yeah, but you have to fill the calendar with gifts and they cost money. Says who? You can give your kids different kind of gifts. When my kids were little, they got things to make science experiments for each day and they loved that. Supplies needed are all things from the home and nothing fancy, but they still enjoyed it a lot. They didn't mind that the things weren't new, they just wanted to make the experiment. Another very popular idea in our home are handwritten notes on little cards that fit into drawers. Elves write one holiday activity that we'll do together for each day. Let me give you some ideas what you can do and write on these little notes. One of those activities is actually one of those experiments they did that first year, and now the elves bring it every year on the 1st of December. It's a tradition on its own. And although they're not little anymore, they still enjoy the rocket balloon. And by the way, even the grown-up men enjoy it. For older kids, you could write fun or inspirational quotes or lyrics for music that they particularly like. If it's personalized and fun, even teenagers might prefer it to cheap chocolate in usual advent calendars. Try it, you've got nothing to lose. At least they'll know you tried. Then you can make advent wreath. Greenery is free if you go to the woods and pick up the fallen branches, or if you live in the city, go to the farmer's market. They usually sell trees during December, and there is always greenery left over from handling the trees. You can buy straw bases for your wreath, and they make your life easier, but they're not necessary by any means. You can make a wreath with some leftover wire from spiral notebook, for example, or wire hangers, whatever. And if you want to fatten it, you can use newspaper. It totally works. If you have no decorations to put on your wreath, use natural material. Christians here also stick 4 candles into the wreath, but people also put wreaths on doors, and those usually don't have candles, so these are optional. You can really make it without any money. Tried and true. Now here's a fun one. Elves also always bring new pens and the task to write to Grandpa Frost. That is a very practical tradition, since that way everybody gets what they really want. Tell me what you want, what you really want. And they really tell you, unlike in the song. We add a twist to this, which is also to read the letters, which is especially great for smaller kids with terrible handwriting and very unique and imaginatively formulated wishes, because you get to discuss the wish and perhaps even modulate it. The middle child once wanted a live elf. Since Grandpa Frost has them, I mean, they work together, he doesn't own them, she thought he could give one to her. I explained to her that it would be like taking a child from his mama because they live together and he's like their dad. She accepted that and wished for one that could just walk and not be alive. It was a good deal for all, especially for the elf. Another sweet zero-cost tradition is to place some branches of fruit trees into a vase full of water. You should regularly change the water so it's fresh, of course. And if you're lucky, the branches will bloom by Christmas. To be honest, ours almost never bloom, but we still do it every single year and it's always fun. My alpha male used to grunge about that. It makes no sense to do it since they don't bloom, but kids performed a revolt and now he's the one that usually gets the branches because he saw it really means so much to them. It really is all about the process sometimes. The results are not that impressive, probably because we keep the branches in the kitchen that is way too warm. The only time that they bloomed was when we forgot them in the garage where it's colder. We should try putting them somewhere else this year. Another nature-related tradition is sowing wheat. It's a Slavic tradition when you sow wheat on the 12th of December, so it grows by the main holiday, and it's a quick and gentle tradition. We use an old dish where the Teflon has chipped off, so we can't use it for cooking anymore. But you can use a normal plate or flour base or plastic packaging or whatever. You can buy small packets of Christmas wheat very inexpensively, but if you know someone who owns a nice lawn, you can also ask them for a tablespoon of grass seeds and it would work just the same. Now let's get our kids outside. You can take them to holiday fairs to see the processions if you have any. We have 3 gift bearers here, so we have lots of processions. You can also watch an outdoor play or a festival or life-sized or even live nativity scene. Or of course the classic, you could go see the lights and holiday decorations together. If you live close enough and kids are big enough, you can even do it by bike. This year, my kids' school participated in holiday decorations of the city and we'll go see the lantern that he painted. Speaking of lights, in Spain they have a tradition of lighting little candles and lanterns on Noche de las Velitas. You can make your own at home or gather some friends. All you need is some tea lights. But if you don't feel like going out, you can all make a nature corner at home. I've made a video on how to make one. That one was full of gnomes and would easily be adopted to suit the holiday theme. Just change the color of the gnomes and you're pretty much there. You can also make it holiday themed. We usually make a Nicholas nature corner and another one for the main holidays with winter gnomes. Speaking of gnomes and elves, elf on a shelf is another cute tradition. It doesn't have to be that creepy looking doll from the box. We have our own elves that hide in December and they're cute and made from wood and wool, and we even made some ourselves and they got magic powers next December. It's that easy. Our elves filled the advent calendar truck and they hide somewhere, usually inspired by the activity that they brought. Today they brought pens with a task to write to Grandpa Frost, and they were sitting on the window shelf where we usually put letters for Grandpa Frost. Once they were painting a Japanese flag because the gift was a card for a kids' show about Japanese culture. There's a lot of free events in December, so even if you don't have any money, you'll find some ideas like that. Many ice skating rinks in shopping centers are also free, processions are free, and so on. Now wanna hear some lesser known, not to mention a bit weird tradition from Spain? In Catalonia, kids take care of a Christmas log. They decorate it on the 8th and feed it chestnuts, dried fruits and nuts and cover him with blanket every night. It's called Tio de Nadal, and on Christmas they spank it so it poops presents. I'm not kidding, go look it up. If you'd like to do that, a small hat for the Tio would be a nice gift in your advent calendar. You can make it out of felt, card, or even a small piece of recycled old shirt. So kids in Spain get small presents and sweets in a very unusual way. Speaking of sweets, you could make some with our kids. Like cookies, for example, that's a classic. You can make a real gingerbread house or decorate your tree with gingerbread man or pick any of your favorites. So a recipe could be a good gift for your advent calendar. We always bake Yule's log on solstice, so elves bring some sugary decorations or powdered sugar in a little baggie so we can sprinkle it on to resemble snow. But if you're pressed for time, a hot chocolate or orange-infused tea would also count. A gift could be a recipe or a packet of tea, a packet of cocoa, or some marshmallows to put in your hot chocolate. Another holiday classic is card making. Elves usually bring some holiday decorations for the cards, like washi tape, glitter, stickers, or whatever. Small little things. You could also punch or die cut some stars or other holiday shapes out of recycled card. You only need small scraps, so recycled cards works great. And some are even golden or silver and look great on holiday cards. Then you could make a St. Nicholas or a Christmas sock from scraps of fabric or even from recycled old clothes. You don't need a lot for a sock. We even have a nice tradition of adding ornaments every year, but more on that in a future video. The gifts in the socks are usually food and small thingies that we need anyway, or a small treat that won't break your piggy bank. Our socks are filled with oranges, tangerines, dried fruits and nuts, freshly baked sweets, sometimes homemade goodies like caramel almonds, and a small practical gifts like socks or gloves, but in our home it's usually a bit more interesting. If you watch the forecast, you can plan out activities like snowman building or making an igloo, if there is snow where you live, of course, or sledding, skiing, or ice skating on a lake if it freezes. Towards the end of December, you could also decorate the tree with lights, cookies, small apples, decorations, and pine cones, and that could be one of the tasks. Making the decorations could be another one, or adorning the home with lights. And of course, there are gifts. They usually come with a price tag. But some of the best gifts I ever made were very cheap to make, and some of them were totally free, made from scraps. When my kids were little, we were saving for a bigger apartment, so I didn't spend much on their gifts. They were little and had very easy wishes. Elves could make most of the things themselves. I always bought books, but that was more or less it. Now that they are older and their wishes are a bit more complicated, like elves don't make cameras or ice skates and stuff like that. But still, there are things that my kids love that I make from scraps. Yes, even for the 10-year-old boy. His favorite trousers are made from little squares from different fabrics, recycled from all sorts of unrescuable clothes. I know, my kids are weird. I wonder where they get this from. But people often like things that are made especially for them. If they're made well and to their taste, that is, of course. But a small touch can go a long way. Even a bag of candies split into 3 and then decorated nicely can make some kiddo very, very happy. So I hope I convinced you that you don't need much to conjure up magical holidays for your family this year. Like this video and subscribe for much more fun artsy fun, holiday fun, bullet journal fun. It's all here. See you next week with some more!